Now at 6, why Bourbon County voters will soon consider whether to raise their sales tax. Plus, a local food pantry revises its system for getting food to 4-staters in need. And how the Joplin Job Center helps students in Carl Junction get ready for the workforce.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
We're keeping an eye on the sky for any new developments, but it looks like the worst of the severe weather that rumbled through parts of the area this afternoon is moving out. This is KOIM News at 6. I'm Dow Quick. Let's send it straight to Chief Meteorologist Doug Hetty.
Yeah, we had a lot of thunderstorms earlier today, especially along and south of I-44, but those kind of overworked the atmosphere, so our tornado watch is now gone. It's been lifted. Will be lifted in Benton County here soon, but you can see all these big time storms rolling off toward the east. Now our cold front is still working through, so we've had a couple little tiny pop-up guys, but overall we are looking pretty good as all the big storms now in central Missouri. You can see this one little shower near Oronogo and also Carthage, but besides that we look okay. We did have a lot of hail reports in our southern counties as those storms worked through earlier this afternoon. We're going to drop back through the 60s into the 50s as we go through the overnight hours for us tonight. We are going to cool down a bit over the next few days, so we're going to look into the weekend here in just a bit.
Catch you in a few. Bourbon County, Kansas residents will vote in May on a sales tax proposal to fund emergency services. County commissioners this week approved that resolution calling for a special election. Now, if the measure is passed, it would add a 1/4-cent retail sales tax in the county for 5 years. That money would be used to establish and operate an Bourbon County Emergency Department. The special election is going to be on May 14th. The Kansas DMV plans to issue a license plate in honor of fallen police officers. Each plate would provide $30 in support to KS Cops, COPS, an organization committed to providing ongoing support for the families of police officers killed in the line of duty. Production will begin once 100 people sign up for the plate. If you're interested, check out the link at KOIMnewsnow.com. The food pantry at Pittsburgh's Wesley House is changing to a full choice pantry, meaning clients can select the food that fits their dietary needs instead of volunteers picking for them. This comes after Wesley House was awarded $25,000 from the Pathways to a Healthy Kansas grant. Plan to use that grant to upgrade their kitchen with glass refrigerators and add more shelves.
Moving towards full choice is going to allow the guests to come back into the pantry themselves, and they will get to choose the items. So they'll be able to choose between Cheerios or shredded wheat instead of just cereal versus oatmeal.
Wesley House volunteers plan to start full choice pantry this summer. Students at Carl Junction are looking to get a head start as they prepare to enter the workforce. KOIM's Anthony Saviello tells us how.
Entering the workforce can be a scary step.
It's important for the kids to start having these conversations, especially as they kind of decide, are they going to go straight into the workforce or maybe look at college, to have those conversations early, because interviews can be scary and looking for jobs can be scary.
But students at Carl Junction are finding a way to push that fear aside.
It's going to help their mindset. I think it's going to, sometimes the hardest part of getting started is just the first step, and they're all taking a first step today.
Representatives from the Joplin Job Center sat down with students and helped them with their resumes, job searching, and even conducting mock interviews.
I am looking forward to those because obviously I've only been through so many interviews so far, only having one job. So I'm really looking forward to what those questions are going to be, critiques on those questions, how to word the answers better to make it seem like I know what I'm talking about.
Daniel Ard is just one student taking advantage of this opportunity. His advisor, Christy Jones, has high praise for the work he's put in.
He knows what he wants to do. He has training that he's already obtaining, but Daniel is a student who also will take every bit of information that was given to him today and apply it.
Daniel has advice for students who will soon have to face the same decisions he is right now.
All throughout school, in a year, you're always asked, what do you want to be when you grow up? I would suggest in high school you really dig and try and find that answer for yourself, because high school, almost every high school has the programs and connections you'll need to set yourself up for the direction you want to go. And I very much suggest taking advantage of everything you can.
Reporting in Carl Junction, Anthony Saviello, KOAM News.
The Joplin Job Center is also open to the general public and offers the same services used today by those students. The Carthage High School girls basketball team made the trip to Mark Twain Elementary today to take part in story time with the first graders. It's part of their March Madness book tournament. Staff at the school bring in their favorite books to read to the first graders every day, and the kids get to vote for their favorites, bracket style, like March Madness. Some local teams hit the diamond for Thursday baseball. John's going to have details on those games, including a doubleheader for the Lions a little bit later in sports. But first, KOAM's Tanya Bach looks at some possible solutions to a local housing shortage in her special report, Beyond Homeless. This week, we've been discussing a rising trend in the 4 states, one that mirrors what's happening all across our nation, an increase in the number of homeless. KOAM's Tanya Bach joins us with a closer look at the problem in part 3 of her special report, Beyond Homeless.
In the past year, the city of Pittsburgh has experienced a spike in its homeless population. City Manager Darren Hall said 25% of police calls last summer involved a homeless person. It became a heated issue at city council meetings, with council members eventually passing an ordinance banning individuals from living in tents inside city limits. But even with grant money and housing vouchers for qualifying individuals, Hall agrees there is not enough affordable housing in Pittsburgh for everyone.
I got in the house for a couple months last winter.
2023 numbers from the Kansas point-in-time count show 41% of homeless people live in the state's rural communities, like Pittsburgh.
Whatever the situation is, they're people. Everything anybody says doesn't fall on deaf ears, but we've got to be real careful the way we treat the people in our community, whether they're the ones with airplanes or the ones that don't have shoes.
Pittsburgh City Manager Darren Hall acknowledges the city's recent increase in homeless, but after a 2023 city ordinance change sent homeless on the move at night, Hall says a tent city on the bypass grew out of control.
How long have you lived here?
Wait, I've been here about a year.
We have so many people complaining that the pedestrian traffic across the bypass was extremely dangerous. It just got to a point where we were like, we just need to put an end to it because somebody's going to get hit and it's going to be a disaster.
This fall, the city removed the Highway 69 tenants and their belongings, but with the return of warmer temps, new encampments emerged both on the Highway 69 bypass and next to the 4th Street Railroad overpass. As we know, Mother Nature isn't always kind, and when the weather turns...
A lot of people find places to sleep with friends, relatives, and the like. Some folks are in hotels, particularly families with children. They get vouchers for hotel stays, and then the rest are a Wesley House.
But Becky Gray says that's only a short-term solution. She's the executive director of the Community Health Center of Southeast Kansas's nonprofit branch, Building Health, Inc. Gray says one long-term solution involves purchasing properties and building new homes through the city's land bank.
We demolish probably $50,000, $60,000 worth of properties a year. Some of them are homes, some of them are just lean-tos and old garages, but we have another $100,000 in for the 2024 budget to continue that, because that is a problem. I mean, it's just flat out illegal and unsafe to live in a building that doesn't have utilities.
Currently, the city has 65 land bank properties for sale.
The best use for us is housing, because we definitely have a housing shortage like every town in America, I think, right now.
Gray says they want to build homes that match the current look and feel of the neighborhood and place families in school districts where their kids are already attending school.
So that we're establishing families in neighborhoods, in homes. The kids can stay stable. We can start disrupting some of the generational cycles of poverty that we see. And hopefully, 15, 20 years from now, things are going to look a lot different in Pittsburgh.
A community welcoming the next generation with positivity, not poverty. Gray says right now they're in the fundraising and grant writing stage of the project. You can find a link to the 2023 Point in Time report in this article on our website at KOAMnewsnow.com.
Tanya Bach. We're also providing a link to the City of Pittsburgh's website where you can find more information about purchasing land bank properties. A little bit later, the Chiefs ink a new deal with a former Bengal. John's going to have details on KC's latest signing coming up in sports.
Plus, we're going to start to cool down behind these storms. I'm going to have those details coming up next. Well, of course, showers, thunderstorms during the afternoon hours. Over the past 3 days, we've had severe weather in the four-state area. Most of these today were along and south of Interstate 44, but some large hail across the region. Now things have calmed down. It looks good right now. Here's our Cornell Arts and Entertainment Complex tower cam. Of course, downtown Joplin. We are looking off toward the north into the east through downtown. All right, so tornado watches gone. It looks pretty good. All these storms are rolling off toward the east. You can see them really getting going, pushing up the I-44 corridor. So we had numerous severe thunderstorm warnings along and south of I-44. Since then, since they've moved out, we have our cold front that is shifting through. So along it, we're getting a few little pop-up, little tiny thunder showers. You can see one just to the north of Carthage, but not a big deal. We look pretty good overall as we go through the rest of the overnight hours. Tonight, severe weather is going to stay down across parts of Oklahoma and shift into Arkansas over the next several hours. Temperatures, pretty good, upper 60s to mid 70s in our western counties. We've had a little bit of sunshine that's been breaking out, 70 south winds at about 10 miles per hour. And you can see this wind shift line. So here's our front kind of dropping in over the past couple hours. Now behind that front, we're going to cool down some as we go through the next few days. Slide back through the 60s, 50s during the evening hours. And as we get into the weekend, as this system rotates by, you can see the upper level flow right out of Canada. So that's going to bring in some cooler air. That will shift off toward the east as we get into next week. You can see our next system, he just kind of hangs out west for about a week and then finally starts to head toward us. So we're not really going to have decent rain chances again until next Wednesday. All right, let's go through tonight. A lot of clouds. We'll drop back upper 40s for overnight lows. As we go into your Friday, partly sunny skies, lower 50s by noon, most of us 58, 59 degrees for an afternoon high. In and out of the clouds Friday night, a little bit colder, upper 30s, overnight lows, but Saturday we pop back into the mid 60s for highs. Could get a random sprinkle as we go into Saturday night, and then we cool back down by Sunday. So our temperature is kind of up and down as we go through the next several days. Day planner for your Friday, 49 in the morning, 52 by noon. High temp, upper 50s, which is right about where we should be for this time of the year. But as we look into the second half of the weekend, you can see we drop back into the 50s on Sunday, and then check this out. We're going to struggle to get out of the 40s for highs by the time Monday rolls around. Then we go the other direction, near 70 by Tuesday. So just kind of all over the place over the next week or so. 59 on your Friday, 66 Saturday, 58 on Sunday. High of only 49 on Monday, but back to 68 on Tuesday. Then those chances for showers and thunderstorms increasing again next Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday.
And that's about the time that I think spring officially begins.
Yeah, it'd be, about 7 days? Yeah.
Yeah, to be ushered in with thunderstorms.
Yeah.
Seems appropriate. Thanks, Doug. Still ahead, Missouri Southern softball plays an early morning doubleheader on its home field. And the Chiefs bring in a new offensive weapon for Patrick Mahomes. John Dales has those stories and more. It's coming up next.
Missouri Southern softball is off to a 19-6 start to its 2024 season. The Lions fresh off winning 3 of their first 4 conference games this weekend at home. Now Southern remains in Joplin to host a few teams from the NSIC. That's up in South Dakota and Minnesota. That begins early this morning with the doubleheader against Augustana. The Lions win that game in the front end, 3-2. In that contest, Yasmin Vargas scores her 147th run in her collegiate career. That ties her with her former teammate and current assistant coach Josie Topai for first all-time in program history in that area. Now to game 2 of the doubleheader. Lions look to go for the sweep against the Vikings. We start in the bottom of the first. Kara Amos singles up the middle. Taylor Knuckles is going to come in to score. The Lions take a 1-0 lead. Now to the top of the second inning. Vikings leading 2-1, and Kennedy Buckman splits the gap in right field. That's going to be an RBI double. Augustana leads 3-1. Now to the bottom of the third. Southern down by 5. Taylor Knuckles hits a chopper for an RBI single. In comes Vargas to score, and that means she becomes the all-time runs leader in Southern softball history. She stands alone atop that category. Top of the fourth now, Augustana strikes again. Tori Shute hits a ground ball sharply into center. Another run comes in to score. 2 hours of lightning delays prolong this one, but Southern loses the second game and splits the day with Augustana. NEO men's basketball begins its postseason journey tonight. The Golden Norsemen enter the Region 2 tournament as the number 2 seed, and the quarterfinals pit the Norse against NOC Enid. They're led by 2 all-conference players, Caden Carter and Trayvon Bird, as well as Albert Wilson and Ronyo Obu, both of which are Region 2 all-freshman team players. Now the game just tipped off in Muskogee. I'll give you an update on the final score tonight at 9 and 10. Over to D1 college basketball, the Big 12 tournament continues into the quarterfinals in Kansas City. Now last night, Kansas surprisingly got eliminated, but KSU remains alive, and it plays the number 7 team in the nation, Iowa State. This game very well could be the difference between the Wildcats making the NCAA tournament or not. NFL free agency continues along today, and the 2-time defending Super Bowl champs add another weapon to their offense. The Chiefs signed tight end Irv Smith Jr. 25-year-old has been in the NFL for 5 seasons, but he didn't play in 2021 because of a torn meniscus. Smith was drafted by the Vikings in the second round back in 2019. Most recently, he played for the Bengals last season, seeing action in 12 games and hauling in 18 passes for 1 touchdown and just under 100 receiving yards. So we'll see how he is able to gel with Patrick Mahomes in the Chiefs offense.
Yeah, I think he might be taking the place of Blake Bell. It's a tight end who appears to be on the outs with the Chiefs. We'll find out. We'll be right back. Here's a look at what's coming up on KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. A lease agreement for the Boys and Girls Club tops the agenda for the Miami City Council. Plus, how a risk assessment tool helped a Hollywood actress discover she had breast cancer. And the U.S. is leading the way toward an international treaty on artificial intelligence use. Those stories, a lot more, of course. It's all coming up tonight. KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. A reminder, you can be the first to see breaking news, weather, and sports. It's very simple. Just download the KOAM News app. You see the QR code there. It's free of charge. You also find it in the app store of your choice. Just search for KOAM News app. You get the news app, you get the weather app. Those are always handy, but they are especially important as we move into the heart of severe weather season, Doug.
Yeah, we've had 3 days of severe weather this week, so it's kind of crazy, and we're right at the beginning of the season. All right, for us tonight, we start to clear out. Cooler tomorrow, not bad, 59. Back to 66 on Saturday.
Final sports note.
We'll have an update on those college basketball scores, and like I said, Kansas State with a win tonight likely punches its ticket into the NCAA tournament.
Thanks for joining us. We'll see you right back here for KOAM News at 10. Let's make it a great evening.